Okay, thank you all once again for joining us. Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of a Scam presented by Legal Shield. This is the last of 3 webinars in the hashtag Protect Your ID advocacy campaign launched by Liberty Tax, along with DocuSign and Legal Shield. In this webinar, you'll learn how to recognize a scam and how to avoid being a victim. Our presenter today is Efren Reeder. Efren is an account director for Kroll, an industry leader in helping clients prevent, mitigate, and respond to risk. Kroll and Legal Shield work together on ID Shield, an innovative identity theft protection service. Now, please welcome Efren Reeder.
All right, well, thank you, Anthony, and thanks for hosting us today. Thanks to Liberty Tax and our partners at Legal Shield for giving us the opportunity. So just a real quick brief intro on who Kroll is. We are exclusive partners with Legal Shield to provide the ID Shield program. We are all licensed private investigators located in Nashville, Tennessee, so anytime that members of an ID Shield program need to speak to someone on issues regarding identity theft or risk mitigation, they can contact one of our folks here and we can help them. And certainly we can go through all the remediation process or restoration process if they become a victim. Kroll has been doing this for about 40 years. We are we like to think of ourselves as the global leader in risk mitigation, cybersecurity, all of that is well within our wheelhouse. So partnering with our friends at Legal Shield to offer the ID Shield program to consumers, certainly when it comes to scams, and we're all entering tax season right now, so that's going to be widely recognized in the industry right now. But I think the point of this is to not only focus specifically on tax-related scams, but scams as a whole, because there are all sorts of different types of scams. So with that, let's dive into our presentation here today. So what is a scam? According to Random House, scam is defined as a confidence game or other fraudulent scheme, especially for making a quick profit. In fact, scams can often be called confidence scams because they occur after the scammer or con man or woman has gained the trust of his or her target. And just for a note and ease of speaking, I'll use male pronouns through the rest of this webinar when we're referring to the scammer, but we are very aware that there are plenty of female scammers out there as well. And this is a good time also to point out that just like a scammer can be any type of person, so can the victim. You know, our investigators, Kroll's investigators, have spoken to many people from all walks of life who have found themselves tricked by a scammer. For instance, sometimes the scam victim can even be an employee with access to sensitive company data. So what are we going to talk about today? Because you are more likely to recognize a scam, you're less likely to be a victim if you understand how a scam is constructed. We're going to look at the basic components of a scam, and those are contact or collection of contact information, presentation of a really compelling story, acquiring sensitive information from the victim, and then payoff for the scammer. At the end, we'll close with a review of some best practices, things that we tend to teach throughout the year for avoiding scams and how to respond if you provide personal information. The first step is to collect contact information. At some point, the scammer obtained your contact information if you are a victim, perhaps through dumpster diving, as this photo represents, or unauthorized computer access, maybe a review of a social network account, quote-unquote friending someone, offering to purchase something for sale online, a dating website, or as we're all too painfully familiar with, a data breach. This could This could potentially get the scammer an email address or a phone number or any other information that he could then use to contact the victim. A compelling story is presented after this initial contact, and despite this very excited individual here, it's not always a blatant cry for help. Sometimes it's a story that contains a threat to your finances or to your security. This is where the scammer, perhaps after gaining the confidence of his target, gives the reason he needs personal information or money from the potential victim. He has spun an elaborate tale, and here are just a few examples of that. Maybe he claims he is a Microsoft or Windows representative, and he calls claiming because he can see that you have a computer, you have a virus on your computer, he needs to get some information and assist you. Here's another one. Your credit card or bank account is in danger of being closed, or your access to it is going to be restricted. Another could be that he knows that that he claims that he is a person from a foreign country who needs help getting a great fortune transferred to the United States. I'm sure everyone is painfully familiar with those types of scams, and unfortunately, believe it or not, they still happen pretty regularly. He claims, here's another one, he claims that he is an IRS agent who must collect payment from you, and if he doesn't, you're going to be arrested. Again, perfect season to talk about this. Be really aware of any phone calls, certainly text messages or emails from anyone claiming from the IRS. They will only send communication via letter, and sometimes some of those scams do involve threats to get local law enforcement involved. Again, sort of going after that sense of panic. And then here's a final example. The scammer could claim that he is a colleague who needs information for business purposes. The scammer story will almost always include a sense of urgency and will seek to exploit human characteristics such as kindness or generosity, fear, and sometimes even greed. Law-abiding citizens, they don't like the idea that they may have done something wrong and usually seek to rectify the matter right away, and that benefits the scammer, obviously. However, before you act, think through what's being told to you and asked of you, and if you need to, make the right decision. Again, I'm going to say this probably frequently throughout this, just go with your gut. All right, once the scammer or con man has gained the confidence of his target, the target of that scam is giving them what he's being asked for. And this really is where the trouble starts. The target gives the scammer their personal information, access to their credit card or their bank account, company data, or they accept a check from the scammer, which of course turns out to be pretty much worthless. Whatever was promised to them, it really never materializes, obviously. So now the payoff for the scammer. They get to work using that information that the scam victim has provided them. They're looking to steal money or open new credit accounts. They're looking to access data stored on that victim's computer or even a business network. Or they could have some other type of material payoff. When the victim seeks to confront the scammer, they can't be found, or especially when there's cash involved, they add another story explaining why things didn't occur as promised. This additional story will often include additional pleas for cash. We typically see these with romance scams. They sort of get in with the victim. Suddenly that person is not at the airport as promised after plane tickets were purchased. When the victim continues to try to reach that person, maybe they eventually get the scammer on the phone, and suddenly it's my car broke down and I need some more cash to help that get that fixed so that I can continue to try to get to you. And as much as that victim is willing to give money, that cycle can continue for quite some time. So you must be really careful in dealing with people because many times a scam is not identity theft. It's important to know. The victim willingly gives money or does something on their own accord, like I just mentioned in that romance scam. They are willingly participating in giving that money, and when things like that happen, unfortunately, that victim will have little recourse. All right, so now that you know how a scam is constructed, let's look at some best practices for avoiding becoming a victim of one of these scams. Hang up on anyone that you believe is a scammer. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't push any buttons on your phone or speak to the caller. You may think that that is a way to keep them from calling back, but it just likely verifies that yours is a valid phone number. So the quickest and easiest thing is to just hang up the phone. Don't trust caller ID. Scammers may mask their number to make it appear that they are calling from a bank, when they can be calling from any other location, even another country. And be careful when using an internet search engine. If you don't know, the first links listed in the results are usually paid advertisements and may not be exactly the site that you're looking for. Think about what you're being asked for before providing your personal information, before clicking on a link in an unsolicited email or answering an ad, all of these things. Remember that the scammer is trying to create a sense of urgency. You must think through what you're hearing or what you're reading. Why does that quote-unquote bank want you to supply your debit card number, your expiration date, and the CVV code? Is it really reasonable that agents are on the way to arrest you for something unless you pay a tax? Think through those things. Don't respond to any of these types of communications. Delete unsolicited text and email messages without responding. Try not to even open them. Again, with the IRS, they're going to send you, they're going to communicate via USPS through a letter. Understand that legitimate businesses, including the IRS, won't send these types of messages asking for your personal information. And when selling things online, deal with buyers really carefully. And I want to just share a personal story that happened to me a couple of months ago on eBay. I was selling an old iPhone. I had it, and I thought that would be the easiest way to get rid of it. I tried several times, and all of those times, in fact, someone that won the bid reached out to me directly and wanted me to go ahead and send the phone, and then they'll send the payment, or tried to, weave a tale on, oh, I've sent the money, it's on its way, or contact me directly, providing their personal phone number. And it's really important to go through the proper protocols, the proper channels, with eBay or otherwise. So all of that is official and legitimate. Don't reach out to them directly. Go through the process and procedures that are put in place. I obviously did not communicate with that individual, any of those individuals, and I still have my iPhone. So I think I feel better about that, despite the fact that I wanted to get it off my hands. Also, don't accept any overpayment and then send part of that payment to someone else. This is a really common scam where a buyer is located far, far away, but they want to buy the item that you're selling, and then they offer to pay you asking price, and then say, let's add, $500, and then ask to send that to a shipper who will then pick up the item for you. You've deposited this check that has been made out for a little bit more. You deposit that check that's presented to you, and then you send that $500 to the supposed shipper. as you can imagine, later your bank notifies you that the check deposited was no good, and you're suddenly out of cash. All right, so what should you do if you've given some personal information? Kroll's investigators talk to so many people every day who call just after realizing that they've done something questionable, such as complete a form with a suspicious email, answer personal questions when they're caught off guard by a caller. As we said earlier, it can happen to just about anyone. ID Shield members are wise to seek the consultation that they're afforded by the program and seek that consultation with a Kroll investigator if they think that they are facing or have fallen victim to a scam. Steps should be taken then to reduce the harm that could arise from one of those situations. If you provided your Social Security number, for instance, to a potential scammer, a fraud alert is highly recommended. This will add a statement to your credit reports for the purposes of notifying any potential new creditors that steps have been taken or need to be taken in order to verify that individual's identity before issuing any new credit. If you gave your credit or debit card, your checking account number, best steps there are going to be to notify those financial institutions that issued that account, and watch that account, obviously, for any unauthorized transactions and report any to the bank immediately. Canceling the card and getting a replacement would certainly be the first line of advocacy there as well. If you've given cash to someone and realize it's a scam, cease all contact with that scammer immediately, and certainly don't give them any more money. These are some really good reporting and information sites that we generally recommend. Again, we're going into tax season. We hear a lot about tax phishing scams, the IRS reaching out via email, and even though it may have that IRS logo, don't open it if you don't have to, if you can avoid it, and certainly don't respond to it. But again, that is just one piece based on a seasonal event. The scams, like the romance scam that I mentioned early, holiday scams or charity scams, the eBay scam that I could have potentially been a part of. All of those things happen throughout the year. So if it ever occurs to you that it may seem too good to be true, or your gut's telling you something, it's always important to listen to that and seek expert advice if you can. So I hope that those things were really helpful. Encourage, if you have any questions about what you've heard today, certainly reach out through the appropriate channels, and we will get back to you. And again, just stay vigilant this season and throughout, and I hope everyone takes away here with a little nugget to keep themselves safe. All right, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great rest of the year, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Efren. That will conclude our webinar for today. If you have any questions outstanding, you can reach out to training@libtax.com. We will work with our marketing department, too, to give this recording to the other sessions. So if you missed any of the other two, you can also use it to that, and we will post it up, or you can pass it along to anybody within your organization. So once again, if you have any questions, just email training@libtax.com. If not, have a great